And we are back with some more Washington Capitals franchise mode in FHM 10. And in this one, we are coming off a playoff loss against the New Jersey Devils in round number 2. We were 56-19-7 on the regular season, so that's definitely a disappointing loss. But at the very least, we know we're on the up and rising. And I expect even more from the team next year, at least in terms of playoff performance. So with that being said, let's get a head start on the offseason here. And let's re-sign some of our players. LaPierre is going to be the first one I re-sign. He wants 6.4 for 3 years and a no movement clause. And he had a pretty good year this year. 53 points in 68 games played. 67 grade. What did he do during the playoffs? He had 9 points in 11 games. Doesn't look like he's going to drop down too much. He's only down to 6.4. Okay, I actually got him down to 6 mil. I will do that for sure. I said submit offer. Thank you. I thought the game was not responding to me there for a second. I thought the submit offer button might have been glitched out for some reason. Tomas Galvis wants 2.5 essentially for 4 years. Yeah, I mean, he's young. He's a solid two-way defenseman, so I will certainly sign him. And I will give him 2.42. I couldn't take him down a whole lot. Lev Shunov, definitely got to get him signed as well. He's asking for around the same that Galvis was. And I was able to get him down to 2.37 for 4 years. And then Spencer Knight. He wants 8.5 for 6 years. Oh my. I mean, he was very, very good in the first half of the season. And then for whatever reason, in the second half of the season, he had a couple of bad games and then coach stopped using him almost completely after that. I mean, look at his game by game. He has not played since March 18th. And then before that, not since February 28th. Yeah, I mean, I guess that is a lot of bad games in a row, actually. He had more bad games in a row than I thought he did. So I suppose that's understandable, but he did have a very good start to last season. So I'm a bit hesitant to let him go. I'll start at 7 mil, see where we can go from there. All right, I was able to get him down to 7.85 for 6 years. I'll do that. 8.5 would have been more than I would have liked, but I'm glad we settled on 7.85. That's a little bit closer to what he was previously making with 7.44. Who do we have left to sign? We have Carconi, Parasak, Kostenko, Lind, DeRuios. So it's mostly just a lot of the guys who have yet to really prove themselves. What's our salary cap obligations looking like for next season? 14.7. I think I'm going to wait to sign these guys until their regular season grades pop back up, because I think that might be a determining factor for a few of these guys. So let's just advance to the end of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And the Stanley Cup champions are the Winnipeg Jets. This is their first Stanley Cup in team history. They went through the St. Louis Blues, the Dallas Stars, the Arizona Coyotes, and the Detroit Red Wings in a 7-game series in the final. So with that, I think we'll wrap up signing our remaining players. It appears most of them want around 2.5. Parasak only wants 1.4 as a 3-star ability. He hasn't even played in the NHL yet. Kostenko is going to walk. Lind wants 3.8. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I know he's a very physical player, but considering where our cap's at already, we only have 14.7 left. I mean, we could probably dump a little bit of cap if we need to, but I'd prefer not to give overinflated contracts like that to guys who are not exactly core parts of the team. Then again, Lind had the highest offensive grade of the guys that are left here. Carconi improved a lot last year. He had 52 points in 77 games played. So I think we're going to re-sign him, and he's not taking anything less than what he's asking for. So we will give him 2.689. Parasak only wants 1.4 for 3 years. I will do that for him. Nice cheap depth. Coots wants 2.4 for 5 years. I'll try to take him down a little bit, but I'm not really expecting him to meet me there. Yeah, it looks like he's only going down a little bit per offer here. All right, I got him down to 2.34 for 5 years. And then DeRuio, I will go 2.42. Where are we at now? 7.3. Patera's asking for 3.7. I can't do that. He was in the AHL last year, so as good as he was for us during that one season in particular, I'm gonna have to let him walk. Kostenko doesn't want to re-sign. Lazan, I'm pretty sure I'm not re-signing. He wants 2.2. Nah, can't offer that for someone who's probably staying in the AHL. Liukas 1.4, and then Lind 3.8. Yeah, just if Lind comes down to somewhere around what I'm asking for at 3.25, then I might do it. Oh no, he's set on 3.8 as a bridge contract. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to leave Lind qualified. I don't know if I can offer him that. Yeah, I think the rest of these guys are gonna go unsigned here. At this point, I can't even see myself calling up Liukas for depth purposes because he's just been out of the NHL for so long now. He had one chance back a few years ago when we were still rebuilding and he didn't even do well then. So yeah, I think I'll just let him walk and I'll let a prospect replace him. All right, now that is June 23rd. Let's sign some of our prospects whose deadline is coming up. You have Dustin, Godbout, and that is it, actually. I think I'll sign Colin Dustin, 1.5 star talent, 2.5 star potential. And then Tommy Godbout, big game performer. Okay, I guess I'll sign him. And you never know, maybe if he gets the right growth, then he'll be able to maybe be some NHL depth someday. Is there anybody else who's like NHL ready? Stesko's getting close. What about, is there anyone in the NCAA? I don't believe we have any NCAA players at the moment, so don't have to worry about anyone randomly walking off our team. Or at least we shouldn't. Maybe there's some other league that does that as well that I don't know about. But we appear to be good. So I think with that, we're all set to go to move on to July 1st. But first, we have the award ceremony. Almost forgot about it. For the Ted Lindsay, you have Connor McDavid. For the Art Ross, you have Leon Draisaitl. For the Maurice Richard, you have Austin Matthews. For the Lady Byng, you have Nick Schmaltz. For the Bill Masterton, you have Eric Carlson, still in the league, 39 years of age. For the Mark Messier Leadership Award, you have Miro Heiskanen. For the Jennings Trophy, you have Peter Kochetkov. All right, how about that? And the heart between McDavid, Bedard, and Draisaitl, it is Connor McDavid with 110 points on the season. For the Conn Smythe, you have Axel Sandin Pellikka of the Detroit Red Wings with 23 points in 26 games played as a defenseman. For the Calder between Anton Frundell, Gavin McKenna, and Roman Kantsarov, it is Roman Kantsarov of Chicago with 72 points in 73 games played. For the Norris between Keaton Verhoff, Spencer Sova, and Josh Morrissey, it is Spencer Sova of Montreal with 47 points in 82 games played. For the Selke between Nathan Gaucher, Matthew Joseph, and Isaac Lundestrom, it is Isaac Lundestrom of Philly with 46 points in 81 games played. For the Vezina between Jordan Binnington, Philip Gustafson, and Yaroslav Askarov, it is Yaroslav Askarov of Nashville with a .922 save percentage and 3 shutouts in 74 games played. Quite a workload. The Executive of the Year between Briere, Sweeney, and Dorian, it is Pierre Dorian of Ottawa. The Jack Adams between Orpik, Guy Boucher, and Jared Bednar. Come on, Boucher. There it is. Guy Boucher gets the Coach of the Year. Well done. So in addition to Kochetkov getting the Jennings Trophy, Guy Boucher also gets the Coach of the Year. We got a couple awards there. Obviously not the one we wanted, but I'll take it. And for our season summary, we reached the playoffs, had a winning season, winning percentage of 600 or better. We finished first and met our objective. No negative categories, of course. Longevity bonus of 5, meaning our total season score is 34, and our total career score now up to 79. And I think I will just max out negotiating here. And now we can make our way to July 1st. All right, so we are here on July 1st. And I've already taken a look at the trade block and at the free agency, and there's really not a lot that's standing out to me as someone who I want to acquire. As I'll just go through the trade block quickly here, there's really not a lot that is all too interesting. Few 3-star players, and the 3-star players that are available, I just don't think would really be much of an improvement to what we already have. So at that point, it'd really just be making a trade just to make a trade. And as far as free agency goes, again, really not a lot in terms of players who I think would really add to what we've already built here. With the exception of Miro Heiskanen, I think Miro Heiskanen would really help. However, with the amount of money that he is asking for, which is 7.8 for 6 years, I do not think that's going to work, because when you consider who we have coming up this year, you have Afanasev, currently making 4.5, wants 5.7, effectively 5.8. And Afanasev had a really good year last year. He had 81 points, so I definitely do not want to give him up. Suzdalev, who had 67 points last year, going from 2.6 to 5.4. Misa, obviously we're going to have to re-sign him. He's one of our core players. Going from his rookie contract to 4.5. I mean, there's a lot of players that we have to re-sign who are going to be making a lot more money. Crystal, 6.2. Protas currently making 4.5, wants 5.7. I don't know if it's going to work. And then not to mention, you also have Huang, who's coming off his rookie deal, who wants 3.4. So there's just, I don't know, even if we trade someone like Kochetkov, who's making 3 mil in goal, and then someone like York, who is our 7th defenseman, making almost 4 mil, I'm still not sure if that would even work in the long term. Even as soon as next year, we might have to move on from someone big if we decide to go ahead with signing Heiskanen. I've already accepted the fact that we're not going to be able to sign Callan Lind, because We take a look at what he wants now. He wants a 5.1 now compared to 3.8 before. So we're definitely not signing him now, at least as it stands. But yeah, I don't know if Heiskanen's even going to work, unfortunately. Like I said, we would definitely, not even probably, definitely have to move on from Kochetkov and York at the very least. And considering how he performed last year in the second half of the season when Spencer Knight was falling off, I'm not sure if I want to move on from Kochetkov. York, I'm okay with giving up if it means getting Heiskanen, but like I said, the salary cap situation is, well, I anticipate that it's going to be very ugly. Misa, I know for a fact we're signing, so you know what? In fact, I'll just get that done now. Start at 3.8. I think that's reasonable. All right, so I only managed to get him to 4.25 for 3 years, and that will have to do because his current negotiation mood is not happy. So we're gonna have to submit that. A Fanasev, I don't want to sign as well. I mean, he had a career year this past year, 81 points in 82 games played. All right, so I managed to get him at 5.5 for 3 years. Then you have Suzdalev, who had 67 points in a career year last year. Oh, there's just so many players to sign, man. I'm not sure if we're signing all these players. we might have to move on from someone soon. It might have to be someone like Protas, which I hate to do because he's been around for a while. And he had a very good year last year, 63 points. But then again, who didn't? It seemed like everyone had a good year in terms of the regular season. Yeah, he wants 5.7. It's just, oof, man, it's not going to be pretty. The salary cap situation here in Washington is going to be ugly next year. I think I'll also sign Alex Huang ahead of time. He's 21, so I want to make sure to get him locked up nice and early. I managed to get him down to 3.25 for 4 years. We might have to end up trading York regardless. Yeah, I don't think we're affording Heiskanen. As much as I want him, because he seems like he's really good defensively, not only with his defensive ratings, but also with his physical ratings and mental rating. Like, he's a very good player, don't get me wrong. I really want him, but I don't think we're going to be able to afford him. And he's had some really good grades over the past several seasons as well. Basically, ever since the simulation started, been a very good simulator. So it's very, very tempting. But the thing is, even if we get rid of York to get Heiskanen, who else do you take away ice time from of this list? Because these 5 up here, Lambos, Galvis, Lin, Levshunov, Huang, I don't know if I'm ready to move on from any of them yet. Obviously, Lambos is staying. Galvis has been pretty solid so far as a two-way defenseman. Levshunov, Lin, Huang, all very promising. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to give up any of those guys just to overpay Heiskanen. And the salary cap's at 83.5 million. We're currently at 76.4. So by trading York and Kochetkov, we would still be below the cap. But I just have this feeling that if we go ahead with signing Heiskanen, that next year everything is just going to go blowing up in our face and that we're going to have to trade several players probably because of how the cap situation is looking right now with all these guys who are asking for much more than they're currently making. And that's not even counting depth players like Gauthier or Hagens, who are probably going to have to release, or Protas. I haven't even approached Protas yet, or Suzdalev, who wants double of what he's currently making, right? So it's I don't think Heiskanen's in the cards without giving up a significant part of our depth, at least as far as next year goes, right? I mean, we could make this work this year, but only for this year and no longer. So if Heiskanen wants, you know what I'll do? Fine. Here's what I'll do. I will do a 1-year deal for Heiskanen at 9 mil. So if Heiskanen's willing to do this, then we'll most likely, in fact, we'll definitely have to move on from York right now. Just like, I hate to take away ice time from someone like Galvis or Lin or Cameron or Levshunov or any of them. But I am interested in seeing if Heiskanen would be willing to sign a 1-year deal for 9 million. Let's see what he says. I don't think it's in the cards. He seems set on a long-term deal. I'll go a little bit higher. Yeah, he's set on the long-term deal. I'm up to 9.2 and he keeps lowering his price, but it doesn't seem like he's going to come down on his years anymore than he already has. Yeah, I can't do this for Heiskanen. It's just going to be, I mean, it's basically going to force us to trade away players that we don't want to trade away. So I think I'm going to have to say no to Heiskanen. I really want him, but I don't think it's worth the cap nightmare that's going to be happening next year. I mean, we're already pushing it as it is. So yeah, I mean, the only way I would have done that is if Heiskanen agreed to a 1-year deal. Then it doesn't seem like he's going to be open to that. So with that in mind, I think we just move ahead here. As of right now, I just don't think there's really any moves on the table for us that would make sense. So I think we'll just go ahead to the draft here. All right, we're at the draft lottery now, so let's go through it. At number 16 will be Tampa. 15, the Islanders. Then you have Toronto, Anaheim, the Rangers, Calgary, Carolina, Nashville, San Jose, Columbus, Seattle, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Florida, and then Colorado and Vancouver at number 1. Actually, okay, I take back what I said earlier. There is one player on the trade block who sort of intrigues me. Alexei Toropchenko of the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's 30 years of age, and he looks like he might be a decent replacement for Callan Lind because he's relatively the same in terms of how he plays, it looks like. Obviously, Lind has some better ratings, but when you consider, again, the amount of money that Lind was asking for, that's just not something that I'm going to do at this point, especially considering how the cap situation for next year is going to be looking. So if I can get Toropchenko at 50% of his salary, so he'd be on a 2-year deal for 1.065, then I think that's something that I'd want to do because that's a really cheap depth player who is very physical, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, look at that. Look at that hit total for basically everywhere in the simulation. And this past year where he only had 59, he only played 37 games. So yeah, I think this is something I want to do. I'll get Lind in there since we know we're not signing him. And then I think I'll give up a 3rd and a 4th. Okay, they'll do that. So the rights to Lind, a 3rd and a 4th for Toropchenko at 50% of his salary. Offer trade, finalize. Very nice. So we managed to get some cheap depth in the form of Alexei Toropchenko, and he also adds a good veteran presence there. And he's also very cheap, which if the amount of money that players like Suzdalev and Crystal and Protas are asking for is any indication, we're going to need a lot of those kinds of cheap players in the coming years. So overall, I would say that is a solid trade. And let's go through the draft now. I mean, we have a lot of picks, but I'm not anticipating to actually take my time with most of them because this is looking like another very weak draft overall. Because in terms of solid prospects, I mean, I think there's maybe a round's worth. So I think at some point, like probably by the 3rd round, we're going to be having the computer finish the draft, but we may as well do the first couple of rounds here. So with that being said, let's pick until human and see who we can get. Oh dear, this is not looking good. You got Joe Willows. Oh boy, he's a project. Todd McDonald, also a project. Yeah, it doesn't look like very many prospects who we're going to be seeing anytime soon here. Richard Bills, and he's very good offensively, but that's about it. Got a few good mental ratings in there too. I don't know if we're even using our first here. Gotta be honest. Yeah, I'm really not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything that I like. Nathan Robinson. I mean, I know the mock draft isn't good in this game, but number 1 for 2-star potential, really? Okay, sure. Nathan Robinson. The apparent projected first overall pick goes number 28. So there you go. There's our first round pick. And we are now down to pick number 60. And yeah, it's really not looking pretty. Yeah, I had a feeling this would happen. I'm not liking any of these guys. I think we're just going to skip the rest of the draft here. We're only in round number 2. We have, how many picks is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 total. And I only used one of them. Oh man. Yeah, this was not a good year for drafting. So Miro Heiskanen signs with the Columbus Blue Jackets. I wonder for how much. 8.4 for 6 years. I mean, yeah, that's a good deal. That's a good deal for Heiskanen, but there's no way we were affording that. So I think with that being said, we're going to wrap things up here. And the next one, we will get to the start of the year 7 regular season simulation.